welcome to today's exploration of our provided sources. Today we're unpacking a highly relevant strategic blueprint tailored for 2026.
Yeah, we're focusing on exactly why AI specialists and data scientists absolutely need a video podcast right now.
Right, and I mean, we aren't just talking about vanity metrics here. The mission today is to show how a video series acts as this, well, a relationship engine.
Exactly. It's a vital tool for experts to simplify complex new tech terms and platforms for an audience that is, frankly, just struggling to keep up.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I feel like every time I refresh my browser, there's 3 new language models I'm supposed to understand by yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. The sources show AI adoption has rapidly hit 72%, but public understanding is just kilometers behind the actual technology.
Kilometers behind, yeah. That gap is massive.
And that gap is exactly the friction point. I mean,
Yeah.
we could briefly touch on generic goals like building public trust or transparency.
Sure, those matter.
They do. But the real urgency right now is context. When we talk about high-stakes model deployments that actually impact a company's bottom line.
Or handle sensitive customer data. People get nervous.
Right. A podcast gives specialists a dedicated space to translate that rapid development into simple, digestible insights for you, the listener.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Aren't there already a million tech podcasts out there? How do you actually break through that noise?
By focusing on applied, real-world context instead of abstract theory. Let's look at the NVIDIA AI podcast as our first case study.
They launched back in 2016, right?
Right. And by 2023, they hit a record 1.2 million plays. They didn't achieve that by releasing vague corporate statements about transparency.
No, the sources highlight they focus entirely on explaining cross-industry solutions, showing, rather than just telling.
Exactly. So instead of just saying their new architecture is faster, they explain how a logistics company is saving millions of rands by optimizing their delivery routes.
Millions of rands. That definitely gets attention.
It cuts right through the noise. Which brings us to our second case study, the TwimML AI podcast.
Oh yeah, TwimML. Over 7 million downloads in their first 3 years.
Yes, but the most valuable insight isn't the download count. It's that they built a community flywheel.
Let's pause there. What exactly do we mean by a community flywheel in this context? Because it sounds a bit like marketing jargon.
Fair question. A community flywheel means your listeners don't just passively consume the content and walk away. They interact with each other.
Like forming study groups.
Exactly. For TwimML, listeners formed study groups to discuss the episodes. Those groups eventually led to actual conferences, pulling even more new listeners into the ecosystem.
So it generated measurable business outcomes by building an active, self-sustaining community around their expertise.
Right, it wasn't just a broadcast.
But here's the hurdle I see for you, the listener. You're an AI specialist. You're busy actually building the tech. Who has the time to produce a weekly show?
That's where the strategy of content multiplication comes into play. You aren't creating a dozen different pieces of content from scratch.
Right. The blueprint shows one 60-minute video recording easily turns into 8 to 12 short clips.
Clips for social media, a full newsletter, and a written blog post.
You record once, and it feeds an entire week of output.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, execution requires infrastructure. To get those high-quality clips without burning out, you need a system to remove the operational friction.
Enter Tim Africa.
Exactly. That's the role of an enabling partner like Tim Africa. They handle the studio or remote production, manage the distribution, and track the performance.
So the series stays measurable, and you just show up and share your insights.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean for you at the end of the day? It means a podcast is your scalable asset to stop explaining yourself from scratch every single time you sit down to pitch a new client.
This raises an important question, though. As this technology accelerates even further, will you be the familiar, trusted voice shaping the AI space?
Or will your hard-earned expertise get completely lost in the noise?
That is the deciding factor.
If you're ready to stop repeating yourself and start scaling your voice, it might be time to build your video podcast system. You can connect with Tim Africa to get started.
Check them out online.
You can visit their website at tim.africa or check out their podcast hub at pod.tim.africa. On social media, you can find them at tim.africa on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and at tim.africa_ on TikTok. We've dropped all those links right in the show notes for you. Thanks for joining our analysis today.
Here we go. Ideas fast, started flow. Catch the vibe, catch the spark, light it up. ignite the dark. Flip pitches with a bigger media switches. Podcasters, turn to the marketing riches. Plug it in, turn it loud, build your brand, make it proud. Pitch it high, pitch it sweet, performance game, can't be beat.